Welcome back to Grace and Grit. If you're new here, this is just a space for real conversations about life, motherhood, and everything in between. No filters, no perfection, just honest moments, real life, and those reminders that we are not the only ones figuring this out as we go. And if you've been here before, welcome back. But I have to tell you, I think I made a mistake. Not like a bad parenting mistake, not one of those moments where you immediately know you messed up. I mean, like, I might have done too good of a job in certain areas that, well, I thought I was lacking in. Because now my kids are out here holding me accountable and they are calling me out and using my own lessons against me. And I'm not sure I like it. We spend so much time teaching them things. Be honest. Be confident. Speak up for yourself. Try your best. Do what you say you're going to do. Follow through. Be responsible. And while we're teaching them all of that, we're hoping and praying that one day it sticks. And I mean, I know I'm not the only one. We repeat ourselves over and over, day after day, because we want it to sink in. We want them to get it. We want those little lessons to turn into habits so that those habits can turn into their character. And we're thinking the whole time, one day this is all going to pay off. One day they're going to understand. And one day all this repeating myself is going to matter. Nobody really talks about what happens when it actually sticks and you're not prepared for it. Because when it clicks for them, things change. And not always in the sweet little proud parenting moment that you've imagined. Sometimes it changes in ways that we aren't ready for at all. Because all of a sudden, they're not just hearing what you say, they're listening. They're remembering. And even worse, they're applying it. And sometimes they're applying it directly back to us. That's the part nobody prepares us for. We spend years teaching them lessons, hoping they work, praying they work, trying to stay consistent enough for them to work. Not really stopping to think about how life is going to change for us when they do. Because when it does, it means you don't just have a child learning responsibility, honesty, confidence, and discipline. Now you have to deal with the child who expects those same things from you. And that's where it starts to backfire. That's where the Uno reverse card is played. So, my youngest, he is like a ball of energy at all times. He's always running, always moving, 90 miles an hour. There's no slow. There's no normal, medium. His idea of slow and calm is way faster than what I would call calm. So I'm constantly telling him the same thing. Slow down. You need to be in first gear in the house. Walk. Don't run through here. And when I say first gear, let me tell you, his first gear is still more like third. But that's the rule. First gear. We walk in the house. We don't run through the house like somebody is timing us to get to the other end. I say it all the time. Every day. One day, I had pizzas in the oven. I stepped outside real quick to ask my husband something. Well, that little quick step outside turned into me completely forgetting about those pizzas. We're recognizing a pattern here, aren't we? Anyway, so I remembered and I panicked. And I come flying through the house full speed. And from the other room, I hear my youngest. Oh, Angie's running. You have to go back and walk. Y'all, I did go check on my pizzas first, which, by the way, they were fine. But then I went back and I walked because that's the rule. And that's the exact rule I've been saying every single day. And in that moment, I realized he has been listening this whole time. Not just hearing me, listening and remembering and waiting, apparently, to call me out. And that's the thing. It's funny, but it also makes you realize that they are paying attention to what you say and what you do. Even when it feels like you're repeating yourself into the air, even when it feels like they're not listening, even when it feels like nothing is sinking in, it is. You just may not enjoy the moment when it shows up. And like, it's not just that they listen, it's that they will absolutely expose you if it helps them in the moment. Take, for instance, last week or so, my husband is talking to our teenage daughter about saving money. He had already had this conversation with my boys. Now, my husband is not a gamer at all, but me and the kids, we play Roblox. And I'm kind of a gamer, not hardcore, but enough to know what's going on. And let me just say that we do not look like bacons over here. If you know, you know. Our avatars are cool, okay? So he's talking to her, telling her she needs to save her money and not to spend it on games and stuff. And she's, joking back with him. And she's like, Dad, you're rage baiting me. And I don't feel safe in this conversation. Just in all fun. So he laughs, but he's still making his point. And he tells her she needs to save her money because those games are just a waste of money. And there's nothing to show for it. Y'all, this child threw me under the bus so fast to save herself. No hesitation, no warning, absolutely no loyalty. She goes, Angie spends her money on there too. Excuse me? Like, we just out here saying names now? What she did not explain was that Angie spent that little bit of money to benefit them too. Let's not leave out those details. Let's not act like I was just out there being reckless for no reason. There was a purpose behind my purchase. But in that moment, none of that mattered because she was trying to save herself. And I became the example. And then my husband goes, Yeah, I know, but it's her money too. And she works hard, so I can't say anything to her. And I'm just sitting there like, Wow, okay, so this is what we're doing. Everybody's just out here telling on everybody, switching sides and everything. But that's just another part of this whole parenting that gets overlooked. You want them to be honest. You want them to speak up. You want them to have enough confidence to say what they think. And then they do at your expense. And suddenly, honesty is not as cute as it sounded in that lesson. And suddenly, you're thrown out there for your mistakes and your imperfections. And then there's the bigger stuff, the stuff that you actually prayed for, the stuff that isn't just funny, but it's meaningful too. So, my teenage son had kind of gotten into a rut. He used to be outside all the time, daylight until dark, just being a kid, doing stuff, moving around, living life, loving life. And then over time, he kind of changed. Not lazy, that's not the word, just defeated, a little shut down, keeping to himself, doing what he had to do, but then getting on his game and just kind of staying in that space. And as a parent, you notice that. You feel it. You know when your child is not fully themselves. So we've been talking, having conversations, hinting at things, trying to encourage without pushing, trying to help without forcing, just hoping somehow we could break him out of that rut just to see him blossom again. And I mean, nothing was really working. Not in the way we hoped. And then a month or so ago, he Spent the weekend with his papa, his pop. And apparently, every single thing we had been saying, mixed with whatever papa magic happened over there, finally clicked. Because this child, mm, he came home an old man. I mean, I don't even know how else to describe it, okay? He goes to bed at like 9 o'clock every night, no prompting. And I'm talking like it's his bedtime and he'll tell you it's my bedtime. He gets up at like 5 o'clock every morning. He's responsible, focused, motivated. He's a whole new child. He wants to save his money. He's not asking. He's just excited about life again. A whole new child. Now at first, you're thinking the same thing I was. Wow, this is great. This is exactly what we were hoping for. This is what we wanted. This is what we were praying for. And this is what we were trying to get him back to himself. And it's good. I am proud. I really am. But what I did not know was coming was how much this was about to change my life too. Because now, if I mention things we need to do, it's no longer a conversation. There is no procrastination. It's not just a conversation. It's not just a list. We're not just talking about it. We're not saying maybe we'll get to it later, maybe not. Oh no. Now it's 7 o'clock in the morning and he's waking me up asking, what are we going to do today? Sir, I did not know we had plans like that. I thought we were just discussing the possibilities. Brainstorming, if you will. I thought we was just making us a nice little mental list that we might revisit at some point. Oh, but no. To him, if it's been said, now it is a mission. Now it is a job. And Monday evening, I found myself out there cleaning up our property, tearing down, hauling off old fence, just doing general manual labor. This child is in full project mode. Like if I had given him a chainsaw, there probably wouldn't be any trees on our property left, okay? That's how focused he was. No breaks. Uh-uh. I try to casually mention taking a break, and he's like, we can stop for a few minutes and get some water, but we have to get all this done before dark. Before dark? And who is we? And why are you talking like a foreman on a construction site? Because I'm not a spring chicken, and I'm trying to survive this cleanup. I'm not training for no competition. And my husband's like, just tell him you're done for the day. And y'all, we can't do that. We prayed for this. We hoped for this. So I'm out here toughing it out. My husband's down here toughing it out because we are not going to stop him. Okay. But it doesn't even stop there. All right. So while we're working, he's learned all this stuff. And it's like his dad has taught him stuff. His papa's taught him stuff. And we didn't think he remembered it. But oh my God, he does. Because he is correcting me on how I drive the tractor. Correcting me. And just for the record, that tractor was not even running. So my little big toe on that clutch did not mess up anything. But you want me to tell you what he told me? If you form that habit, you'll do it when it's running and you're going to burn the clutch up. You don't touch it. And I'm like, okay. I'm just looking around like, yep, this is my life now, right now. And then we have to back up the trailer on the tractor. Itty bitty tiny trailer, which if you know, it's hard. And I'm sitting there, and this child does it on the first try better than I do. And I'm like, what is happening here? What what? How did we get from me giving you suggestions and help and aid to you giving me operational feedback, and I'm already tired out here. So we finish our work day. I go in, I cook supper. I'm exhausted, right? Like, I'm not made for this anymore. I don't know how my husband does it. Tuesday morning comes, and he's up and ready to go because in his mind, we have stuff we didn't finish. And he's right. That's the worst part. He is right. And I mean, I'm proud of him. I really, truly am. Because this is what we wanted. We wanted to see him motivate again. We wanted to see him responsible. We wanted to see him care. We wanted and prayed for that spark to come back. And it is here. And baby, it is bright. But I'm not going to lie. I kind of miss the lazy days just a little bit. Not because I want him back in that defeated place. Not at all. But this mama could use a nap. That's all I'm saying. I need a nap. And that's the part nobody warns you about. When the lesson sticks, when the growth happens, when the thing you've been hoping for finally shows up, it doesn't always arrive in a package that's easy for you. Oh, sometimes it stretches you. Sometimes it means we have to rise to a standard that we help create. Yeah, I caused that. I created that. And it's humbling because we spend so much time thinking about who we want our kids to become that we don't always think about who we're going to have to become alongside of them. We think we're just teaching them, but really, we're being shaped too. They're learning from us, yes, but then there comes a point where what they've learned starts pressing back against us, and now we have to live it too. Now we have to follow through. Now we have to get up and do the thing. And suddenly, those little lessons are no longer parenting tools. They become expectations in your house. And not just for them, for everybody. And honestly, it gets even worse when they start turning into their father. This is a whole separate level of betrayal, I'm just going to tell you. Because my teenage son does not even share my husband's DNA, technically. That's his stepdad. We don't use stepdad, that's his dad. But I have to say that for you to get this part. He doesn't share his DNA. But you would never know that by the way these two act. They speak the same language. They think the same. They process things in the same way. It is crazy. And I'm over here wondering how on earth this happened. Because what used to be this small little unit, when it was just me and him, when I was a single mom, it was just the two of us facing the world together. Now has turned into them two against me over here, and I'm losing. That's what it feels like. I used to have an ally. Now I have an opposition. We'll be out here working, and he's correcting me on the tractor, right? That's his father. That is straight from his father and his papa. And it's like them two just sat down and developed a plan, and now I'm expected to just run it. And then when we're out running errands and I want to stop and get a drink or a snack, he doesn't want to stop. He's like, we have stuff at home. Excuse me? Hey, kid, I'm the fun parent. We're stopping for a drink at least, okay? Do not take the joy from me. I have lost enough already. And that's what makes this all so funny and so real at the same time because yes, there are moments where it feels like your parenting is backfiring on you. Moments where you get called out. Moments where your own rules come right back around on you. And moments where your kids expose you, correct you, hold you accountable, and suddenly act like tiny supervisors in the life that you have created. And in those moments, you're laughing. But you're also kind of stunned and in awe because underneath all the chaos, all the comedy, there's truth sitting there too. They were listening. It did stick. Those lessons mattered. The consistency mattered. The conversations mattered. All that repeating, all that redirecting, all that reminding, all the hoping and praying that one day it would click. And it did. And maybe that's what this really is. Maybe it's not Uno reverse being used on us. Maybe it's not a parenting backfire. Maybe it's more like parenting working, just not in the convenient, comfortable, easy way we imagined. Maybe this is what it looks like when those seeds you've been planting start growing like weeds, okay? Just let me throw that out there. But maybe this is what it looks like when your kids really do become the confident, responsible, honest, thoughtful people you hope that they would. And maybe part of the surprise is really realizing that their growth changes us too. It asks more of us too. It pushes us too. And yes, sometimes it calls us out, embarrasses us, and inconveniences us too. But that doesn't make it a bad thing. It just makes it real. And if you're in that season, like me, when your kids are starting to reflect back all the things you've been pouring into them, and you're having those moments where you laugh, but you also think, wow, okay, this is different. You are not the only one. If your own words have come back to humble you, you're not in that boat alone. If your child, the one you prayed would become responsible, has now become a little too responsible for your liking, you're not the only one. If you have found yourself being corrected by somebody you used to remind to brush their teeth, you're not the only one. And if you're slowly realizing that the child you raised is becoming their own person, and that growth is beautiful and exhausting and funny and emotional all at the same time, you are definitely not the only one. That's real life. That's motherhood. That's parenting. That is grace and grit. Thank you guys for being here with me today. And thank you for just sitting in the real, funny, slightly humbling moments of parenthood with me. I hope this reminds you that even in the chaos, even in the call outs, even in the moments where your lessons come back to haunt you just a little bit, there's good in it too. There's growing. They're growing. They're becoming. And even when it feels like an Uno reverse card being used on you, even when it feels like it's backfiring, maybe it's just what it looks like when it's working. Thank you guys. I'll see y'all next time.